Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about sore hocks in rabbits. And so I'm up here in my rabbit area where we have a rabbit room. And so I brought us up here because we have two different setups that I really wanted to showcase and just kind of show you guys what I did to solve a couple problems that frequently will arise with rabbit cages. So we're going to show you a couple here. The first one is going to be Ollie. Now, Ollie, he has a couple things going for him. This is Ollie. Saw him in one of the other videos. And so the thing that I really like about this setup, and I'll see if I can get back far enough to see it, is it's two levels. And I'll show you what I did here. So I have this little thing here that's convenient where I can, watch out, give him a platform and a staircase up that he uses quite often. Now, the other thing I want you to notice about this setup is right here. You notice what we have here for the type of flooring. So we have a rubber mat. Now, the rubber mat is really nice because it allows them to have a really soft footing. It gives way. It's not too harsh. It's not like a metal grate. Now, his upstairs is pretty plain, just kind of some space for him. He'll kind of stay in there. It's a little bit dirty. I cleaned the bottom today. We'll clean the rest later. But his upstairs, is pretty plain, but it also has this rubber mat. And I just modified one from Fleet Farm or, a horse or cattle, some sort of supply store like that. And then his box. So we have a litter box. They're both litter box trained. But the thing that I like about his cage is it's up a little ways, and we're able to, really, get him the right flooring material for him that'll really help keep him from running into trouble. It's nothing pretty, but I put this together down in Iowa, and it has made the trip to Minnesota. So here is Crumpet's cage. Now, I intend to build him something similar to Ollie when I get the chance, but for him, we just didn't have that available at the time, and I just haven't had the time to build it. So what I did is we took a dog cage, and in most bigger rabbits, this will work just fine. He's not a giant rabbit, but he's bigger. And this is Watson's old kennel that we probably would still use occasionally, but the rabbit's in here now. It has a hard flooring, which is the crate bottom, but then we also have the litter box here, which is really helpful. Again, litter box trained, as you can see, even though I haven't cleaned his cage in probably about a week. He has minimal debris on the floor, just some hair because it's molting season. And yeah, so it otherwise looks good. And, both of our rabbits do well with the dogs and the cat. As you can see, the dog doesn't really care. Watson's kind of just whatever. So let's go outside and talk about sore hocks. So what is sore hocks in rabbits? Well, the thing with rabbits is that they don't have a sole on their foot like a dog or a cat does. So if you have a dog, cat, and a rabbit, go look at their feet, and you'll notice that the dog and the cat have paw pads and the ability to really have something to protect their feet, to callus away from it. And rabbits don't have that. Rabbits only have fur. Now, that fur is helpful, but it's not going to be as protective as, say, a paw pad is. When rabbits get pododermatitis, podo meaning foot, dermatitis meaning inflammation of the skin, so inflammation of the skin of the foot, pododermatitis, they can get it for a multitude of reasons. Now, those reasons would include everything from, if they have a dirty, unkempt cage, if it's moist, non-hygienic conditions. So, for example, if you have a litter box and you don't clean it for weeks on end and it's just moist and that's the only place they can stand. The other thing is wire grating. Now, wire grating doesn't always cause pododermatitis, but any larger rabbits are much more likely to have this problem if they're on that kind of a flooring material. And the other thing that always to think about is there's some genetic components. So something like a Rex rabbit, they tend to have less fur to protect their feet, so they're more likely to. Other things that can cause pododermatitis include, if they're obese, so if they're just overweight. Large breed rabbits are more predisposed to developing it just because there's more weight on their skin, which can damage it and increase the likelihood of an infection. So what do you do? Well, the number one thing that you can do is prevention, and not all rabbits you're going to be able to prevent this in all situations. You can take the best care of them, have the best facilities, and your rabbit still potentially could get this, but you're going to decrease your risk dramatically. But the other thing is, making sure just that you have a good footing for your rabbit and hygienic conditions. They're litter box trainable with little issue, and that's very helpful because now you have something you can get them to go to the bathroom and clean up one little thing often, and it's not a big deal. Now, the other thing is preventing them from becoming obese and making sure that your rabbits stay a healthy weight, as this is going to help not just with that, but also with joint disease and, sometimes even other diseases that rabbits can get, is making sure just they stay healthy. So what else can you do? Your rabbit has sore hocks, pododermatitis, or at least you suspect. So what can you do? Well, talk to your veterinarian. There are definitely things you can do without talking to your veterinarian first. And those would include, making sure that you're keeping their feet clean, their cage clean, giving them a soft, dry footing that they can really let that skin and tissue heal without further damage to it. So the other thing that you can do is, how do you address those type of wounds by yourself at home? You can't get to a vet, or it's just not practical. Well, what you can do is don't use alcohol or iodine, at least a harsh iodine full solution. Don't use anything like straight Dawn dish soap or many of those things that you think of as cleaning agents. A lot of those will actually kill more cells than will help it to heal. So the thing that you can really do to help is take a moist cloth and keep it clean. The other thing, if you are going to use some sort of antiseptic, and if it's bad you may need to, is to use like a weak tea iodine or something like chlorhexidine, which make sure that you dilute both of them out, and both are good antiseptic agents, and we use often for wound cleaning in the veterinary industry. So those are very helpful things. The other thing that you could try is, and this will depend on the temperament of your rabbit and how compliant they are, is some sort of wound dressing. And the challenge with this is we don't want to keep the bad bacteria in and cause an abscess, but giving them some relief so that they can get up, walk around, and not just be in such pain, would be to do a dressing. And sometimes that's helpful. You don't want to do it for too long. You want it to get air and be able to dry out, as that's part of the healing process. So if you have gauze and vet wrap, you can always try that. Just keep a really, really close eye on your rabbits to make sure that they're not chewing off the bandages, and don't ever put it too tight. Because you can very easily cut off all the circulation to their toes and cause a lot more issues if you're tightening up something like vet wrap too much. The other thing to always think about, if you're dealing with this sort of an issue is that it may not be the only thing going on. Often when rabbits have one thing going on like this, sometimes they won't eat, they won't drink, and they can actually put themselves into GI stasis. So watch your rabbit closely that there's nothing else going on. Now, the last thing I want to mention, and I already briefly touched on it, your rabbit may need to go to the vet for antibiotics. And the reason I say this is some of these infections, and that's what they are, you can't treat them without an antibiotic. Some of them you can, but not all of them. Now, if you have any abscess, so if you have any pus coming out of it, deeper than just the very outside of the skin, make sure you go in. Or if you see bone. So if you see bone, definitely contact your veterinarian right away, because a bone infection can be extremely deadly and extremely hard to get rid of. thanks for watching, guys. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate it, as getting to the end always helps out the channel. So if you guys wouldn't mind, if you haven't already, subscribe and like the video, as it will really help out building the channel and helping us to grow. We want to make an impact here on YouTube and really show God's glory in animals and how you guys can do a lot of stuff at home. And I want to show you guys that. I'm not about selling products. I may go over products that I think are valuable, but that's not my main goal. I'm not here to sell products. I'm not here to sell you something. I'm here to help you guys better take care of your animals and hopefully teach you guys something along the way, and maybe even you guys will teach your vets something when you go in and see them. So have a great rest of your day, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.